So the one thing about Mikal's decision making and sort of floor reading right now is that it can seem very sped up, and this is to be expected with the change in role. And we're seeing hints of improvement. We're seeing him make the right reads, but the way I would describe it a lot of the time is he will see a play in front of him and immediately try to make that play sort of as quickly as possible without thinking or processing, okay, what's the best way to do this? Here comes off a screen that Nick Claxton sets, and instead of pulling up against Rudy Gobert, tries to throw that pass, results in a turnover. And you'll see this a lot where he has the right idea, but the execution just isn't there. This would be a hard pass, but I mean, Claxton does have the step. You might want him to not leave his feet here, maybe try to throw a wraparound around Rudy, but a lot of the times he will get in the air and throw an off-balance pass or just sort of have nowhere to go once he gets in the air. This one against the Nuggets, honestly, just a great defensive play by Bruce Brown, but it is encouraging. You can see him make the right read here. Again, comes off the screen. Jokic is up, sort of towards the level. This low man, I think that's Jamal Murray, tags Nick Claxton rolling. So Mikal wants to hit Joe Harris, but just sort of throws it immediately and not very crisply, and it allows Bruce Brown to get the steal. And you'll see that a lot. Sort of aggressive ball pressure, active hands can bother Mikal because he's not really throwing pass fakes, trying to manipulate defenders. This is a good example right here. Comes off a handoff, and you get two to the level, which I suspect you might see against the 76ers. I think Embiid, especially in a playoff setting, will be able and motivated to play up at the level, exert more energy. But here, two to the ball, and Mikal sees this roll and immediately jumps to try to make the pass ahead of him, allows Şengün to get a hand on the ball, reach in, get a steal. And so now, ideally, Mikal maybe comes to a jump stop here, and this is a 2-on-1 on the weak side. Jabari Smith has to choose, and so instead of holding him there with his eyes or a pass fake or whatever, Mikal just jumps, tries to throw it immediately, results in a turnover. But I'm not too discouraged by these. This feels like the sort of thing that will improve with the reps. He's making sort of correct reads. He's just not really executing them or doing the little things like, again, manipulating defenders with his eyes, pivoting, staying on the ground, throwing pass fakes. But I think we know he can do that. It's just getting the game to slow down. And to that end, I think this series against the Sixers is going to be beneficial. It's this stuff that might take a little bit longer to improve with time. I mean, here Claxton's on the roll, and Mikal hasn't really shown a ton of ability to read this weak side guy. Here, Lauri Markkanen comes over on the roll, and we haven't seen a lot of skip passes. We've seen a few turnovers trying to force a ball to the roller like it is here. So that's a loopy pass. Not a great pass without this third defender coming over, but especially with him coming over, you'd want Mikal right here to read this and maybe a difficult pass, but maybe to launch this to the far corner. But either way, he can't just be blind to that defender and throw it there. A positive that I want to highlight, though, is that he's been much more aggressive and experimental trying to get downhill against this screener defender, and that bodes well for the Nets should Philly play a more aggressive screen coverage with Embiid at the level or trapping and whatnot. Here, Bridges actually tries to split the double in this game against the Wolves in early April. I hadn't seen him try to do this before, but the fact that he's confident in his handle, you really like to see it. Gets low, just kind of loses it. I'll rewind it again. Loses it at the very end there on the Euro, but you like to see him confident enough to try to split that screen. And here's what I like to see. Comes off the screen, is that Chimezie Metu? I think it is. Kind of backpedaling. Doesn't let him off the hook with a tough mid-range pull-up. Doesn't get deterred from going to the rim. It's kind of an in-and-out hezzy, but just keeping that dribble alive, forcing the issue, trying to get downhill has been really big for him. You just like to see it. This was a play from early March that I highlighted against Şengün. Good screen by ex-net, Nerlens Noel, and Mikal kind of has all the space to work with, a one-on-one matchup with a slow-footed defender, and doesn't try to get to the rim, doesn't try to hit him with an in and out, a hezi or whatever, kind of settles for this pull-up, and Şengün's on it. It's not a great contest because Şengün can't really jump, but just never really pressures the paint or the rim there. Now contrast that to a little less than a month later, coming off the screen, and this is, Evan Mobley, probably going to be the runner-up for Defensive Player of the Year. Takes him to the rim, inside hand finish, lay. But he comes off the screen, hezi, just not allowing himself to get sped up or deterred from trying to get to the rim, seeing that second defender. So it's nice that he might become more of a rim pressure guy if things keep trending this way than, an overall floor reader, spraying skip passes, hitting rollers with advanced pocket passes. But I'd say so far, trying to gauge where he's come as a primary option and, decision maker, I'd say a big area of improvement is just slowing down on his passes, and when he makes the right read, capitalizing on it. And a big positive is the way he can get downhill. The way he has shown more of an ability to get downhill against, screener defenders. I mean, this play against Evan Mobley kind of says it all. Not letting a long, rangy, intimidating defender shut off the rim.